sound okay though. Everything's good.
You sound marvelous, baby.
Oh, thank you, Daddy. Okay. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Macho Movie Madness.
Oh yeah.
I am Brandon. Alongside me always is Andrew. This is Warehouse B, episode 29, and it's Swamp Thing. What is up, guys? Welcome back to Macho Movie Madness, and welcome back to Warehouse B. This is episode 29, and today we are covering 1982's Swamp Thing, directed by Wes Craven.
Oh yeah!
Of all people, Wes Craven doing a character based on DC Comics. I think this was maybe a way for him to prove that he could do things outside of shock and horror, and do something more action adventure related, I guess. But honestly, first time watching it not that long ago, I'd say he kind of succeeded.
Yeah, in a way. This movie's I think is pretty spectacular in some parts and pretty lacking in others. So
I agree. We'll get into that. So yeah, Swamp Thing. This is of course, some people. I don't know how many people would have heard of this one or have seen this one being kind of an older film. It's not really talked about a lot. I think it got mixed reviews, I want to say, as far as critical reception. There was a sequel to this that came out in 89, I believe, with Heather Locklear, called Return to Swamp Thing. Some people might be more familiar with that even because one, it being newer also, but I think it was even campier.
Yeah.
You know, they really leaned on comedy and the fun nature of it. I did get a budget, actually. It was $2.5 million. I don't think I got any box office numbers.
Yeah, I can't remember what. It was in the single digits. I do remember seeing it, but it wasn't over like 5 million. Wherever it was I saw it. It was definitely a flop.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So this is about a 91-minute movie. It's kind of right around our favorite length of movie. It's right on our happy zone. It's like of course we're going to be talking about another movie here in a versus, and that was also about the same amount of time, and it felt a lot quicker. This movie at times did seem to drag. It wasn't even all bad, but it seemed to kind of drag in between. The movie starts off hot, kind of peters out a little bit, I think, and then it kind of picks up again at the end. But even then, it kind of changes what kind of movie it is, almost, by the end. It kind of becomes a little bit goofy. We'll get into that in just a second. Do we want to break down the story for this real quick?
Basically, you've got Alice Cable, who's played by the great Adrienne Barbeau. And,
very nice.
Yeah. And she works for the government, and she's going in to be this new, what is she, kind of like a operative or specialist for this place down in the swamp.
Pretty much, yeah.
And they're making like they're bioengineering this new, what is it, an antidote? Not an antidote, but
it's some kind of formula of some kind.
And it turns out there's a bad guy there, Dr. Arcane, and he wants it for himself. They go and they attack the place. Some bad things happen. Dr. Alec Holland ends up becoming Swamp Thing by mere accident. And
his sister was his helper. Was the other side? Yeah. And she gets shot trying to protect everything, and he was going to give it up. Played by Ray Weiss, by the way. Alec Holland was. Some of you may know him from. He's been in a lot of stuff.
RoboCop.
He was in RoboCop. We just talked about.
Get away from me, man!
Get away from me, man! And one of the bad guys, and one of Clarence Boddicer's guys in RoboCop. He's been in all kinds of stuff. He's usually a bad guy. In this one, he's not a bad guy.
And I really liked him.
I did. I did too. He was young and dashing and very, very kind in this one.
Yeah. And moving along very quick with Cable there.
Yes, he was. Yeah. Science gets him excited, man. You know? But yeah, so obviously that shit goes wrong. He ends up turning into a Swamp Thing. And they're basically trying to take the formula, all of the notes, the doctor's notes and stuff for themselves. And they're after her. She takes the last notebook. She comes back to camp and takes the last notebook. So it kind of becomes one of those man hunts or woman hunts for her. And as they hunt for her, Swamp Thing kind of gets in the way and trying to protect her.
She meets young Jude out on the swamp.
She meets young Jude out on the swamp, a young black fella who's running a gas station by himself. It
never does really say where his parents are. So.
No, he just cool as a cucumber, man. He don't seem too excited about much, and neither is his acting. He just doesn't really. I mean, he's a child actor, but doesn't really seem. He had a few. There were some funny lines in this, and he had a few ones. He's like, "Stay here where it's safe." He's like, "What did he say?" He's like, "You read my mind," or so, I don't know, something like that. His delivery was kind of funny in a couple places. Most of the time, though, it was just really But what do you expect? So I guess you want to talk about the ending real quick.
Oh yeah, so
this is where it falls off.
Yeah, the movie's really strong. Actually, I want to talk about like the beginning of the movie because I thought all the stuff in the lab was really charming and that's actually my favorite part of the movie.
I thought so too.
The character-driven stuff before the bad guys attack, and I kind of wish there was more of that in this movie.
I know.
But and of course, Swamp Thing comes out, and they have these massive attacks and everything, and where he saves Alice Cable. But at the end of the movie, Arcane ends up getting, or at least in the last act of the movie, he ends up getting these notebooks and taking the serum. First, he injects Bruno.
Yeah, which is one of his goons, I guess.
Yeah.
Or something. And
it's funny, we're getting ready to do a versus with the Punisher, and Bruno's actually in a bar scene there. I was just watching The Naked Gun, and he's one of the goons in that movie.
Yeah, he's in just like all kinds of shit.
Yeah, just as a hired goon. But anyway,
so Arcane basically roofies him. Like he's without him knowing. He's going to be our guinea pig.
And he definitely takes advantage of him. This serum, according to Dr. Holland, of course, it takes your deepest desires, what you are inside, and kind of exacerbates them. And
it's a natural quality thing, whereas Arcane thought it was to produce strength, and it's not the case.
Yeah.
In his case, it was a strength-driven thing,
right?
Multiple things, but yeah, in Bruno's case, he turns into a little like almost like midget, I guess, just due to his timid nature.
Or something.
He's a timid nature guy, so he becomes this like little gnome thing. Yeah, so it's funny.
And then Arcane ends up there for the final battle out on the swamp. He turns into, I'm not exactly sure what he was supposed to be. Is like a warthog or like.
Well, it is a boar-like beast, is what this is being described as, what I'm reading here. And that's close enough. It's weird. It looks like something that Master Shredder made with the secret ooze. I mean, in a way, it's kind of what it reminds me of.
On no budget, yeah.
Yeah, just like a fantasy-driven weird hog. He's got a very similar bodysuit to Swamp Thing almost. But you got like a wolf or boar like cross kind of head. It's weird, man. It's weird.
Yeah.
But he ends up with a sword or some shit, and then like they fight in the end. It's wild.
Yeah, it's that was like the worst part of the movie is laughing.
For sure. It's very goofy.
I want to say I've not actually heard the commentary, but I heard another reviewer say that when asked about that, maybe it was Seth Clark that asked Wes Craven about that. What happened to that, and he just sighed. Like, it wasn't everything it was supposed to.
He either didn't have something to do with it, or whatever it was did not work out right. But poor thing. I don't know. even though it fell short, I thought for the most part, other than like the kid and in the end, the characters themselves and the acting I thought were fairly strong.
Yeah.
Throughout this movie, even the guy who played, which it wasn't. Ray Weiss was not Swamp Thing. It's Dick Durock or Dick Durek is.
I kept thinking Dick Durkin every time I saw that.
I know. He actually plays the Swamp Thing character. He does a pretty good job. Adrienne Barbeau is just good in everything she does, I think. And God bless Hollywood and the MPAA or what is it? Like basically the rating system for not existing at this time, because this was a parental guidance movie. This was before PG-13. So you had R and you had PG. And even though this was PG, this is a PG movie. This was not R-rated movie. And you get naked Adrienne Barbeau.
Yeah. The version I saw, there's very little nudity. I guess there's a European cut where there's a lot more. And
really,
yeah.
I just had it was the topless in the swamp.
Yeah.
It was that I guess that was what was on whatever I watched. Because I think it was on Plex TV or whatever it's called. Because Tubi got rid of it in the last few days apparently. Because I started watching on Tubi and then I finished it on. On the
the one on Tubi there was very little. Apparently there's a big controversy when that got released. They released the European cut as a PG related thing, and so they ended up recalling those.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a shame.
Yeah, we salute you, ma'am.
Yeah, but
saluting you right now.
she was saluting everybody first.
Right.
Fair.
Yeah.
Never disappointed. The only thing is, I mean, even though you get topless Adrienne Barbeau in this movie, I still don't think she's hotter she's the hottest she's ever been in The Fog.
Yes, it's the hair.
I think it's the hair. Yeah, I think you're right. The hair. It's the best hair she's ever had in The Fog.
She's got that late 70s, early 80s white woman fro in like this and Escape from New York, and it's not very endearing.
No, but she's kind of got the waves and the Farrah Fawcett thing going on in The Fog, which was so much better. But anyway, do you want to do pros and cons real quick? We've talked about them a little bit.
I like the setting.
I like the setting.
This was shot in South Carolina in Low Country, and I've been through that part of the country on vacations and stuff, and it looks like that. Really enjoyed that. I thought the action was fairly decent, although I mean he's a hero, so all he can really do is throw guys around, and so I mean that could be a con too.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what. Yeah, and I don't really see it as much of a con. I think all in all, the movie was done pretty well. Like you said, I like the setting. Harry Manfredini actually did the score.
Yeah. And
for those, most you probably already know, he is the one who composed all the music for the entire Friday the 13th series. So, Master Harry Manfredini, working with Wes Craven. It's pretty awesome. It's kind of nice that you get a blend here. You got Wes Craven blended in with Adrienne Barbeau, who's more of a Carpenter guy. She was in a lot of Carpenter movies. And then you got Harry Manfredini. That's pretty awesome. The cons for me, though, I don't think they really outweigh the pros, because if you take away just that ending fight with the two monsters, it's really not that bad of a movie. It is a little slow in the middle, but it's really not that bad of a movie.
I thought the suit, it was a con to me. Were you gonna go there?
Yeah, that's where I was going. The con, other than the fight at the end, was the suit. It was very lacking, and I think it's because there was too much light.
Yeah,
there was horror. You could tell there was a lot of shots that were very horror centric in this movie. I really liked the cinematography. I liked the shots in this movie. I liked the direction of this movie for the most part. Like those nighttime scenes there at the beginning when the lab was blowing up and she was trying to escape was really good. Definitely horror elements in there. The music was really good there. But that middle of the road thing, there's a lot of daylight, and they showed the creature, the Swamp Thing, way too much, I think.
Yeah.
Up close in that daylight, because you can definitely see the rubber suit.
And the rips and tears in the suit when he's
the rips and tears. Yeah, it's and the crinkles and stuff all around the wrists and where you would normally have them, and it's just, it's 82 for a $2.5 million budget, but I don't think the face prosthetics were bad at all. I think those were pretty good. It's just that where the creases are, like around his shoulders and his wrists and his feet, you could clearly see that, and I think he focused in too much on those because that was really,
yeah.
Yeah. If they could have backed that off or put him in less lighting or had distance, something hiding him, I don't know, it would have been so much better.
And I want to say those scenes where it's really noticeable, where he's throwing guys out of airboats and stuff. Those were actually filmed somewhere in California at like some reservoir, and you can tell the scenes don't really match up with like the swamp that was shot before.
Right.
So
yeah, it looks like Cypress Gardens.
Yeah.
And Monk's Corner in South Carolina. Am I saying that right? Monk's Corner.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And that's where the majority of the film was shot. Is there anything else you want to mention?
Not really. I think it's pretty solid movie for the most part. That last act really lets me down. I'm happy with about 2/3 of it.
Yeah,
and most of the characters.
But it's enough to watch it at least one time.
Yeah.
Just for that old 80s feel. Adrienne Barbeau, of course. Mm-hmm. And man, Roger Ebert gave it a 3 out of 4 stars.
Wow.
That's wild. Okay, well, I guess with that, we want to rate this thing then.
Yeah, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking I would watch it again. I wouldn't watch it a lot, but I would watch it again. Just something to do, I guess. It wouldn't be the first thing I picked. I'm going to say a 3. It's a solid 3.
Yeah.
I was
torn between like 2 3/4 and 3.
Yeah. It's just, like I said, if you can take away that ending, even I can get past the suit, but take away that ending, and you might bump it up 3 1/4, 3.5, because, and of course, you cut out. I mean, it's already an hour and a half, but you cut out another 10 minutes of that in the middle. You really don't need it. I thought Adrienne Barbeau, she had some action scenes in there. I thought the character had really good scenes. She was kind of the damsel in distress, but also had her moments of strength, where she was kicking somebody's ass. So it was only in times where she kind of got outnumbered that she was in need of Swamp Thing.
Yeah. I say we go 3 across the board for it then.
Yeah, that's probably good. It does kind of become a rubber suited monster movie by the end, but up until then, it's pretty decent. It's worth a watch. Like I said, it was on Tubi. As of this moment, it is not. I don't know why they took it off already, but they did. But you can find it like on Plex TV or whatever that app's called. You can get on there and watch it on there if you guys haven't seen it. And totally worth watching. It's definitely not the worst movie I've seen this year.
Yeah, that'd be Night Beast probably.
Still gonna be Night Beast for sure. I don't know if I'm even looking forward to the day something beats Night Beast, because I don't know if I want to sit through that.
Well, coming up next for episode 30, I'm hoping it's not that bad, but we're going to talk about a wild movie. We're going to talk Zardoz, Sean Connery from 1974, and try to make sense of this crazy ass whatever this is.
So, speaking of giving Night Beast a run for its money. Oh, this is gonna be, if anything, I should show up for warehouse number 30 just to see me rant and rave about having to sit through it. And see Sean Connery about almost completely naked and hairy. His goofy outfit and ponytail.
Right. Yeah. I quit James Bond for this.
Yeah. Yeah, he goofed. I think Never Say Never Again was bad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, we are going to wrap this thing up. Be on the lookout for Zardoz in episode 30 of Warehouse B. We're also going to have a Punisher versus. I can't wait for that. It's going to be 2004's Thomas Jane Punisher versus 1989's Dolph Lundgren Punisher. And I watched that for the very first time, and I got some interesting things to say about that. So be on the lookout for that. And also be on the lookout for The Fog. We're going to review The Fog and why we love The Fog, and do a little double shot of Adrienne Barbeau. So until then, we'll see y'all next time.
We're out of here.